Our Sinister plotters, welcome back for another Metalstar deep dive. Man, Chapter 13 really throws us right back into the action after that cliffhanger ending of Chapter 12, huh?
Oh, for sure. If anyone's just tuning in for the first time, you might want to go back and check out chapters 1 through 12 before diving into this deep dive. Or, well, don't. I'm not the boss of you. But just a thought.
Yeah, probably a good idea, especially with all the twists and turns Aaron Hill keeps throwing our way.
Right.
But, okay, for those who are all caught up, last time we left off with Trinidad and Riley. They were captured. They were facing, like, the full force of Sid Mantles's justice system. But then, boom, Chapter 13 hits us with this escape, orchestrated by none other than Urso, one of the city's elite guards.
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
Right. What do you think about this twist?
I think it's brilliant. He throws suspicion on the seemingly loyal character, but when you think back, we have seen signs that Urso isn't happy with the power structure in Sid Mantless. So this escape could be his way of kind of getting back at Leo. As his authority grows.
And the escape route, it's wild. They go through the city sewer system. And it gives us a glimpse of the people who live outside the dome. Those who scavenge and trying to make a living from the city's waste. It's a huge contrast to the shiny towers and the whole persona-driven society inside.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It really makes you think about the true cost of this supposed utopia. Where does all this waste go? Who's left to deal with it all? It's like, even in these super advanced societies, there are always people who get marginalized and forgotten.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of forgotten, let's talk about that prophecy. So Trinidad, while she's hiding out with this scavenger family, she gives this young girl, Safi, this cryptic message. A prophecy that hints at a future savior who will heal the wounded Earth. What do you think? Is this wounded Earth literal? Like about the damage from the Sky Reapers? Or is it more symbolic?
I think it's both. Hill's great at weaving all these layers of meaning into his writing. On the surface, sure, the Earth is literally wounded from the alien invasion, but there's also this deeper wound, like a division within humanity itself. Maybe the prophecy's hinting at someone who will not only defeat the Sky Reapers, but also bring humanity together.
Oh, against a common enemy.
Exactly.
And this prophecy isn't just some vague idea either. It's spelled out in the Luminarium. Hill gives us the full text.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Paints this picture of the world in chaos, darkness everywhere. And this child is like this beacon of hope. It feels like this is central to the whole story, not just some side plot.
I think you're right. The Luminarium makes it pretty clear that this prophecy is the backbone of the whole narrative. It's driving so many of the characters' actions. And the fact that it's revealed so early on, it just shows how important this child will be.
Totally. Okay, so we've got this prophecy, this crazy escape, and now back in Sid Mantless, things are getting intense with Leo. He's gone full lion. Embracing the persona of Hyacem and grabbing all this power. But we also see this darker side to him in this chapter, this darkness under the surface. He's manipulating the clergy and even plans to get rid of the whole persona system.
Really?
Seems extreme, right?
It makes you wonder what he's really after. Is he actually trying to fix a broken system, or is this just a power grab? The Luminarium gives us a look at his past. He saw the hypocrisy and abuse of power in the clergy firsthand growing up. So maybe this is driven by revenge, or maybe it's a real desire for change.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. And then he orders Urso to be followed, obviously suspicious of his motives. He finds out about Urso's role in the escape. Things are going to get messy.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a ticking time bomb. We know Urso's playing a dangerous game. And Leo's paranoia is just getting worse. It feels like those two are on a collision course.
Yeah.
And when they clash...
Absolutely. I can't wait to see what happens next.
And we can't forget about the impact of all this on the people left behind in Sid Mantless. You see this fear and uncertainty spreading as the news of Trinidad's escape gets out. Leo's grip on power just gets tighter. It's like the whole city becomes this pressure cooker of suspicion and paranoia.
Oh yeah, totally. Hill really knows how to build tension, showing how quickly things can fall apart. But then, in the middle of all this chaos, we get this really touching scene with Ramesh and his family. They've taken Trinidad and Riley. They have almost nothing. But they offer these strangers food, shelter, kindness.
Yeah. It's a powerful reminder that even in the toughest situations, human compassion can still shine through.
It really is. It's this stark contrast, too. You see the coldness and calculation of those in power in Sid Mantless, compared to the warmth and generosity of those living on the outside. Makes you wonder which society is really more civilized.
It really does.
And it brings us back to that prophecy again. The Luminarium hints that Hill was inspired by real-world environmental crises, so maybe there's a literal aspect to it. But knowing Hill, there has to be a symbolic layer, too.
Oh, absolutely. Think about the state of humanity at this point. They're broken, divided, facing this threat that could wipe them out. The prophecy could be pointing to someone who can mend those divisions, someone who can bring humanity together and lead them towards a better future.
Yeah, a unifier. Okay, so we've got the literal and the symbolic. But let's get down to the real question here. Who is this child? Is it Safi, the girl Trinidad shared the prophecy with? Or is it someone we haven't even met yet? The Luminarium talks about a character with a hidden destiny, someone who will come from obscurity to play a key role. Could that be our prophecy child?
It's definitely possible. Hill loves to play with reader expectations. He's a master of subverting tropes. So yeah, it would be easy to assume Sophie's the chosen one. But I wouldn't be surprised if he throws a curveball and brings in someone completely unexpected.
Oof, I love a good plot twist. Okay, but let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about Leo. He's clearly the antagonist in this chapter. But is he really all bad? The Luminarium goes into his motivations, his traumatic childhood, his disillusionment with the clergy. Does that make him more sympathetic? Or is he just using his past to justify his grab for power?
It's a tough one. I mean, we can understand his anger, his resentment towards the system that failed him. But his actions are brutal. Abolishing the personas, that's a huge move. One that could destabilize the whole city. It's hard to say for sure whether he's doing this for the people or just for himself.
Yeah, and the fact that he has Urso followed shows he doesn't trust anyone. He's paranoid, power-hungry, potentially dangerous. But Hill is also amazing in character development. Do you think there's any chance of redemption for Leo? Or is he destined to become the tyrant we all fear?
It's really hard to say. Hill's characters are never simple. They're complex, flawed, capable of both good and evil. I wouldn't say redemption's impossible for Leo, but he would have to change a lot. He needs to face his demons and choose to put the people's needs before his own ambition.
It's a long shot. So
yeah,
we've got this prophecy, this power struggle, and so much moral ambiguity. But where does this all leave Trinidad and Riley? They're out of Sid Mantless, but they're not safe. They're in the wasteland. What's next for them?
Well, the Luminarium mentions that their journey will take them along something called the Spice Road. It's supposed to be really dangerous, full of bandits and harsh terrain, but it's also a route that has historically connected different communities outside the Dome.
So they're not just running, they're on a quest. And how will the prophecy play into all of this?
I don't think they'll be alone for long. Hill's great at creating a sense of community, even in the most unlikely places. I bet they'll meet different groups with their own beliefs and loyalties, some who support the prophecy and some who resent Sid Mantless. And let's not forget Urso. He might have some surprises in store to help them.
He's clearly invested in Trinidad's escape. What do you think his end goal is? And how far is he willing to go to get it?
That's a great question. Urso is one of the most mysterious characters in the book. His motives are unclear, and his actions are often unpredictable. But one thing's for sure. He's a master manipulator, and he doesn't shy away from danger.
Yeah, that's for sure. But let's not forget about the other conflict brewing, the war against the Sky Reapers. While Trinidad and Riley are dealing with the wasteland, the team on the mission to Solos are facing their own challenges, but they're stuck in this city full of danger and intrigue.
Oh, yeah. And the emotional turmoil they're going through. John's trying to come to terms with being a clone, questioning everything he thought he knew about himself. Sarah's torn between Jake and the mission, and Ideo's life is still hanging in the balance.
It's a lot. The stakes are just getting higher and higher. And Hill doesn't hold back on the emotional impact of it all. He shows us their weaknesses, their doubts, their moments of despair, but he also shows their strength, their courage, their determination to keep fighting for what they believe in.
That's what makes this story so captivating. It's not just about battles and explosions. It's about the human spirit's ability to overcome anything, to adapt and find hope even in the darkest times.
Exactly. So we've got multiple storylines colliding, a prophecy looming over everything, and so many unanswered questions. Chapter 13 definitely leaves us wanting more. It's like everywhere you look in this world, there's tension, uncertainty. But one thing keeps coming back to me. That contrast between Sid Mantless and the world outside, it's not just a physical difference, is it?
No, not at all. It's like two completely different ways of life. A clash of ideologies, really. Sid Mantless represents order, control, this strict adherence to tradition. And the outside world, it's all about adaptability, resilience, a sense of community that goes beyond those social structures. It makes you think, which approach is really more sustainable when you're facing a threat like this?
Right. And it's not just about surviving either. It's about values. Inside the Dome, everyone's focused on comfort, security, maintaining their status. Outside, it's about resourcefulness, cooperation, helping those in need.
Yeah.
It makes you question what really matters when everything's at stake.
Definitely. And remember, both societies have their problems. Sid Mantless offers stability, but it comes at a price. Freedom and individuality. The outside might be more equal, but it's also way more dangerous, unpredictable. Hell's not giving us this simple good versus evil thing. He's making us think about how complicated human nature is, the compromises we make just to survive.
It's true. And speaking of complicated, let's go back to that prophecy. This idea of healing the wounded earth, it's so open-ended. We've talked about the environment, society, but could there be something even deeper there? The Luminarium mentions Hill was inspired by mythology, spiritual traditions. Could this prophecy be pointing towards some kind of spiritual awakening, a transformation of human consciousness?
It's a really interesting thought, and it would fit with how Hill uses symbolism and allegory in his work. This child, this savior figure, maybe it represents a change in how humanity relates to the natural world, a shift away from exploitation towards harmony. Or maybe it's about understanding ourselves better, recognizing that we're all connected, the need for compassion, empathy.
It's like the prophecy is reflecting our own hopes and fears back at us. We want to believe there's a solution, a way to heal the damage we've done, to ourselves, to the planet. But we're also afraid that we might not deserve it, that our mistakes have doomed us.
And that tension, that uncertainty, that's what keeps us hooked. Hill doesn't give us easy answers. He makes us confront the darkness inside ourselves and imagine a future where we can overcome it.
And that's where the characters come in. They're the ones who have to navigate all this, make choices that will determine the fate of their world.
Yeah.
We've got Trinidad, a woman of faith, carrying the weight of that prophecy, Leo, driven by ambition and this hunger for power, and so many others just struggling to survive, to find meaning, make a difference, in this world that seems to be falling apart around them.
And remember, we're only halfway through the book. There are so many twists and turns ahead, revelations that will challenge everything we think we know. Who will the real heroes be? What will they have to sacrifice to reach their goals?
That's what makes Metalstar so great. Hill keeps us guessing, keeps us engaged. We're completely invested in these characters and their world. And the Luminarium, it's the perfect companion, giving us these glimpses into Hill's mind, helping us understand the deeper meaning in the story.
So to all you Sinister plotters out there, we challenge you to dig deeper. Ask the tough questions. Share your theories and what you've discovered. And don't forget to like and subscribe to catch our next Metalstar deep dive.
Because in Metalstar, nothing is simple, and every choice has consequences that reach far beyond ourselves. Until next time, keep reading, keep thinking, and keep those sinister plots brewing.